Looks like you faced a few headwinds over the past year, and we were chatting to Rob Tile just about the numbers, and he said with the volumes falling like they have on the local markets, it's very tough for local securities businesses.
Yes, it is. It's not just a volume. Volume been dropping for quite some time. Margin also been shrinking. But I think the competition from offshore players definitely put quite a strong headwind to Cadiz. I think since the World Cup and the fact that we're becoming the S in the brick, there's a lot of interest by foreign players in South Africa, and South Africa is a gateway to Africa. And we don't have that ammunition, and hence we are going to look for some access to a balance sheet, access to research, and these kind of things to rejuvenate or reinvent our securities business.
I mean, tell me how a local securities player who is relatively small compared to some of these big players can compete in this market, because it's not a level playing field for you, is it?
No, it was never a level playing field for us. We were always small and niche. I think our independence played a huge card in the past. The fact that we were sourcing prices where liquidity was driven by best price in the market. Liquidity is mainly driven by the banks now. Facilitations of trade, block trades, electronic trades. We're still maintaining our differentiation factor. We're still #1 for the 15th year in a row as a research house in derivative, in risk, quantitative research, innovative research. So we still have our niche competitive advantage. It's just that we have to change probably some of the tools and the weapons that we're using, because they don't work anymore.
Well, tell us about some of the tools and weapons you're going to change without giving away any company secrets here.
Well, I can't tell you much then. Look, I think the first one that we looked at, we probably need to gain access to more liquidity. A lot of the business in South Africa is liquidity driven. Some of the liquidity comes from just ability to access balance sheet and facilitate trade, and some of the liquidity come from electronic trading or the low touch business, algo trading, which has become become a significant part of the JSE volume. We don't participate there, and we need to invest, find alliance, access to a couple of these things. I very much hope that with these two things and possibly some other alliances, we will have access to offshore flow. A lot of the business in South Africa driven by offshore players. A lot of rand-denominated business happening overseas or in another area. We do have a couple of clients from New York or from London that are probably very small client to a big bank, but for us they actually become quite big clients, and we need to expand on that.
Mm-hmm. What sorts of investments is this going to take, because you want to get into algorithmic trading? You also talked about boosting your asset management business, so looking for talent. What's this going to do to costs and also to investment in the business?
Investment on securities or investment in capital?
In both sides, so capital investment in the business.
Okay, look, there's few ways to skin that cat. You know, one way is to throw your checkbook at a problem and buy big systems and start it from scratch. Other ways is to do some alliances or JVs or some sort of form of activity that will allow you to benefit on other people's strengths and expertise in the market and give you a faster entry to a new area. And I think both of them have the advantages. Our checkbook is not that big, and I'd like to get into this business faster rather than later. So I think we're probably going to look at that area rather than invest our capital heavily in that. When you go to the asset management, we do some investment in the infrastructure. It's the reality. I think
it's also the people in asset management, isn't it?
It's the people and the systems. You know, you got to a stage in asset management that you sort of a mid-sized player, and whether you manage 40 billion or 80 billion or 20 billion or 30 billion, the service that you're required to give is exactly the same, whether somebody give you 100,000 Rand or 1 billion. And this is a great growth area for us, especially the retail area. You know, we're just under 13 billion in retail. You know, it's time to invest in the business, upgrade the systems, hire some people. We have hired some people to increase the quality of the client service. People, people, it's a very interesting assets, probably the most complex assets that there is. I think what we offer in terms of attracting quality people, rather than just paying a big check for quality people, is the potential. I think what we're offering, and I might preempt one of your questions, is the fact that on the asset management, we're not where Ellen Gray is or Coronation, but Ellen Gray and Coronation show the market what's possible, and I think we're well positioned for that. If we do it right, the right way, we'll get there.
Are you currently looking at any JVs or alliances? Have you started speaking to anybody regarding a possible alliance for the securities business?
I think we've been, it's a small market. Either we talk to people or people talk to us. We've been doing a lot of things with other banks in the past. People knock on our door. I can't be very specific. We're always in discussion with few people. I think it's very much the nature of how we're going to go about things, rather than it's more important than who we're going to do what.
Are you going to get something done this year? I mean, are we going to see a turnaround in that business during the current financial year?
I'll do my best, yeah.
How about assets under management? And you talked about retail funds. Is that where you're seeing most of the growth coming through from retail investors, or how about wholesale funds?
I think, look, I'd like to see growth from both. Retail money react faster than institutional money. So if we have funds that perform well, the retail market, IFAs react to that faster. And our brand in the retail market is growing. We're very well known in the institutional market. We're not that well known in the retail market, so we see a great growth there. At the same time, in the institutional side, it's the same people that manage the money. We definitely need to push up the performance, and I would like to attract more and more assets on the institutional side. I think we still have room to grow on the institutional side, and definitely a lot of room to grow on the retail side.
Okay, just quickly, we're out of time, but prospects for the current year, what's it looking like so far?
Well, you'll have to ask Nostradamus. But look, I'm not in the forecast game. I think in the short to medium term, the market proved to be very difficult. Things change on a daily basis. In the long term, we're survivors. We're not worried about survivors. We're worried about growth, and that's where the focus is going to be.